Hey, get out of the car right now.
Why? What did I do?
Huh, okay, sure, everyone says that.
This is my house. I live here.
I don't care. Show me your ID, now.
Here, take it.
This looks fake, don't lie to me.
I'm calling someone. Stop this.
Put that phone down or you're going to jail.
Agent Marcus Rodriguez had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 6 hours, a federal case would be dismissed, a prosecutor would miss court, and evidence would mysteriously disappear. The woman he was handcuffing wasn't just any employee. Dr. Sarah Chen had spent 15 years building one of the most respected reputations in federal prosecution. She had won major cases. She had testified before Congress. And she understood constitutional law better than most lawyers in the country. And the security cameras in that parking garage were capturing everything. Before I continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone with power, someone who thought the rules didn't apply to them? Drop your answer in the comments below. Dr. Sarah Chen was 42 years old and worked as a federal prosecutor in Minneapolis. Not just any prosecutor, one of the very best in the entire country. For 15 years, she had built her reputation on a single thing: justice, real justice. Not television justice, not the kind you see in movies. Real, hard-earned, difficult justice in federal court. She didn't cut corners. She didn't play politics. She didn't take easy cases. She prepared thoroughly for every single case. She studied every document. She interviewed every witness. She knew the law inside and out. Every detail mattered to her. She showed up to court prepared, and she won cases. Her colleagues respected her. Judges respected her. Even defense attorneys respected her work. They knew she was fair. She wasn't there to win at any cost. She was there to get to the truth. She wanted justice to actually happen. She lived in a nice building downtown in Minneapolis. Nothing fancy or expensive, just a good, clean, safe place to live. A place where people worked hard to afford rent. She drove a Mercedes, not a luxury vehicle, but a good car. A car that cost money because she had worked hard. 60-hour weeks were normal for her. Late nights were normal. Working weekends was normal. Vacations were something other people took. She had cases to prepare. That October morning, she was heading to federal court for a major case. A big one. The kind that could set a precedent. She had prepared for weeks and weeks. Judge Morrison was waiting. The defendant's lawyer was ready. The courtroom was full of people. Journalists were there. This case mattered to the city. She had her briefcase in her hand. She had her documents organized. She had her notes. Everything was prepared perfectly. She parked in the underground garage of her apartment building at 7:45 in the morning. She had no idea this would be the last normal moment of her entire day. Agent Marcus Rodriguez had been with Immigration and Customs Enforcement for exactly 12 years. 12 years of following orders without question. 12 years of doing what he was told. He was good at his job. Maybe too good. He followed orders without question. He followed orders without thinking. His supervisor, Agent Williams, gave him a specific task that morning. An immigration sweep. A big one. Round up anyone who couldn't prove citizenship immediately. They said it was about security. They said it was about protecting the country. Rodriguez didn't care why they said to do it. He just knew he had a job. He just knew he had a quota. It was controversial. Some officers didn't like it. They worried about fairness. They worried about targeting innocent people. They worried about violating rights. Rodriguez didn't worry about things like that. He didn't think about those things. He cared about numbers. Every arrest looked good on his record. Numbers meant promotions. Numbers meant respect. Numbers meant everything to him. His partner that day was Agent Lisa Chen. She was newer to the job. Maybe 5 years in. She was more careful than Rodriguez. She worried about things. She worried about whether they were targeting people unfairly. She worried about whether they had correct information. She worried about consequences. She worried about what might happen later. Rodriguez didn't worry about consequences. He didn't think about the future. He had a quota to fill that day. That's all that mattered to him. When he saw Dr. Sarah Chen's car in the parking garage, he didn't think about who she might be. He didn't see a federal prosecutor. He saw a target. He saw a woman of Asian descent. He saw someone who fit a certain profile. He saw someone to detain. He didn't look closer. He didn't check facts. He didn't verify anything. He just saw numbers. He wanted to hit his quota that day. It was October 15th, 7:55 in the morning. The parking garage was quiet, almost completely empty. Just a few cars parked in spaces. Security cameras recorded everything from every angle. Nobody knew that yet. Nobody knew that those cameras would become the most important evidence in federal court. Nobody knew that the footage would change everything. Dr. Chen loaded her briefcase into her Mercedes. Heavy briefcase, full of documents, full of evidence, full of the case she had prepared for weeks and weeks. She checked her phone. One message from her office. Judge Morrison wanted to start early that morning. Early dockets meant the judge was busy that day. Early dockets meant the judge wanted to move fast. She texted back that she was on her way. She would be there in 15 minutes. No traffic that early. The drive was short. She didn't notice the agents moving toward her car from 3 different directions. She didn't notice the way they coordinated their movements. She didn't notice the vans parked near the exit of the garage. She didn't know this was planned ahead of time. She didn't know they had been waiting for someone. She didn't know she looked like someone they were searching for. If you care about stories like this, hit subscribe now. We expose these cases every single week. Back to what happened next. Dr. Chen got in her car. She put the key in the ignition. The engine started. She was ready to drive to federal court. That's when 4 agents surrounded her vehicle. 4 agents, 1 prosecutor. They blocked her path. They blocked her exit. They blocked her escape. Rodriguez approached her window. She rolled it down. She was confused. She had no idea what was about to happen to her. Rodriguez said, "Step out of the vehicle right now. Federal agents." Dr. Chen said, "On what grounds?" "I'm a U.S. citizen heading to federal court to work," Rodriguez said. "We need to verify your citizenship status right now." Dr. Chen said, "I'm a federal prosecutor. Here's my DOJ ID card." She held up her identification, her badge, her official credentials. Rodriguez looked at it clearly. He could read the words: Department of Justice, Federal Prosecutor, her name, her photo. He knew what it was. An actual Department of Justice credential, real, legitimate, not fake. But he didn't care about that. He said, "Anyone can fake an ID. Hands behind your back now." Dr. Chen said, "This is unconstitutional. I'm heading to federal court right now. Judge Morrison is waiting for me there." Rodriguez said, "You can make your call from detention." He nodded at the other agents standing nearby. They moved toward her slowly. They moved toward her car. She said, "Wait. Call my office. Call Judge Morrison right now. He's waiting for me in court." Rodriguez said, "Ma'am, turn around right now." She didn't turn around. She stood there in the parking garage. She looked him directly in the eye. She said, "You're making a massive mistake. A mistake you will regret for the rest of your life." But Rodriguez didn't listen to her words. He didn't care what she said. He put her in handcuffs. The metal was cold. The handcuffs were tight. The other agents put her in a van. A white van. No windows. Just metal walls inside. Agent Chen, his partner, watched from the side of the garage. She said quietly, "Are we sure about this, Rodriguez?" Rodriguez didn't answer her question. He was thinking about his quota that day. He wasn't thinking about her credentials. He wasn't thinking about the fact that she was a federal prosecutor. He wasn't thinking about the judge waiting in court. He wasn't thinking about consequences. He was just thinking about his quota. The numbers. The van drove away from the parking garage. It took Dr. Sarah Chen away from her car, away from federal court, away from the case waiting for her, and towards something neither of them expected. Type justice if you think what happened next matters and deserves justice. 6 hours later, Dr. Chen sat alone in an interrogation room at the ICE detention facility. A small room, white walls, a metal table, a metal chair, no windows, no way to see outside. Just white walls surrounding her. She had been there for 6 hours straight. Nobody had let her make a phone call. Nobody had given her water. Nobody had told her what was happening or why. She demanded a phone call immediately. The detention officer, a man named Morrison, said, "Processing takes time in our facility." Dr. Chen said, "I was supposed to be in federal court 4 hours ago arguing a case. Judge Morrison is waiting for me right now. There's a real case happening, with real people involved." The officer smirked at her words. He said, "Sure, you were arguing a case." He didn't believe her story. He thought she was making it up. He thought she was trying to manipulate him. He thought he had all the power and she was just a detainee. He had no idea what was about to happen. That's when something very important happened. Dr. Chen noticed the officer had a body cam on his chest, a small black camera, recording everything, every word, every moment, every gesture. She pointed at it immediately. She said, "That body cam is recording, correct? Tell me yes or no." The officer nodded slowly. He didn't think it mattered to her. "Doctor," Chen said, "I want this footage preserved under federal law right now. Every single word you say to me from this moment on will be evidence in federal court. Do you understand what I'm saying?" The officer's expression changed immediately. He suddenly looked nervous. He realized what she was saying. She was a lawyer. She knew the law. She knew what she was doing. She knew how to protect herself. He left the room without saying anything. He just left. 15 minutes later, a different officer came in. This one was more respectful. This one understood the situation. Dr. Chen asked for her phone call immediately. She got it. She called the U.S. Attorney's office. Her secretary answered right away. The secretary knew her voice immediately. The secretary said, "Dr. Chen, where are you? Judge Morrison has been calling every single 10 minutes. The defendant's lawyer has filed a motion to dismiss. The case is falling apart." Dr. Chen said, "I'm at an ICE detention facility in Minneapolis. I was arrested in my parking garage. I was arrested for being a woman of color. I need someone here right now. I need legal representation." The secretary said, "Oh my God. I'm getting the U.S. attorney on the phone right now. Stay on the line." There was chaos on the other end. Voices, phones ringing, people shouting. The U.S. attorney, a man named Davis, got on the phone quickly. He said, "Dr. Chen? Are you okay? Are you hurt?" She said, "I'm fine, but we have a serious problem that needs to be fixed." What happened next would change everything for the agency. Wait until you hear what the U.S. attorney did when he found out the truth. The U.S. attorney hung up the phone and walked straight to his supervisor's office. He didn't wait for permission to enter. He didn't knock politely on the door. He walked in fast. He said, "We need to call DHS right now. One of our federal prosecutors just got arrested by ICE agents." His supervisor looked up from his desk, shocked. He said, "What? Our federal prosecutor was arrested?" The U.S. attorney said, "Yes, Dr. Sarah Chen, arrested in her own parking garage, on her way to court, to argue our federal case in front of Judge Morrison." His supervisor said, "Get me the DHS director on the phone right now. I don't care what time it is. I don't care about anything. Get them on the phone." This was serious. Very serious. Federal prosecutors don't get arrested by ICE agents. It doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen in this country. But it did happen. Within 30 minutes, a supervisor at DHS got the call. A man named Agent Williams. He listened to what happened. He listened to the entire story. He said, "Get her released right now. Right now. I don't care what the paperwork says. I don't care what protocol says. Get her released. Immediately." 45 minutes later, Agent Williams walked into the detention facility. He walked fast and looked angry. He went straight to the interrogation room where Dr. Chen was sitting. He said, "Dr. Chen, I am deeply sorry for what happened. This was a serious mistake. A terrible mistake. You are free to go right now," Dr. Chen said. "I want copies of all body cam footage from the last 6 hours. All of it. Federal records law requires you to give it to me." Agent Williams said, "Of course. We will provide everything. Everything. Whatever you need right now," Dr. Chen said. "Save it. I'll see you in court." She stood up slowly. She was calm. She was professional. She was not angry. Not yet. She was just stating facts. She asked Rodriguez to step outside the room with her. She said, "The body cam footage. Where is it? I need to know right now," Rodriguez said. "There was a technical glitch in the system. The camera malfunctioned during processing." Dr. Chen stopped moving. She looked at him for a very long time. A long, uncomfortable time. She said, "A technical glitch," Rodriguez said. "Yes. The system failed. No footage from detention." Dr. Chen said, "Convenient." That word hung in the air. Convenient. One word. One single word that meant everything. Because she knew he was lying. She knew what the truth was. And she knew what she had to do next. She knew she had to fight. If you think this matters, hit subscribe now. These cases need to be seen. 2 weeks later, news cameras crowded outside the federal courthouse. Dozens of reporters, multiple cameras, multiple microphones. Dr. Chen's attorney held a press conference. He stood at a podium. He said, "My client was detained without any legal cause. She was a federal prosecutor heading to court. The agents involved knew exactly who she was. Her credentials were visible. They detained her anyway, and when she asked for the body cam footage to prove what happened, it mysteriously disappeared." The reporter asked, "What are you doing about it?" The attorney said, "We're filing a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security for $35 million. We're demanding answers. We're demanding the footage. We're demanding accountability. And we're demanding that this never happens to anyone else." The story went viral on social media, not because it was unusual, but because it was caught on camera. The body cam footage that supposedly malfunctioned still existed. Backup copies existed. Audio recordings existed. Text messages between agents existed. Emails existed. Everything was preserved. Everything could be reviewed. People shared the story on social media immediately. Millions of people. Millions of shares. Millions of comments. They were angry. They asked the same question over and over. Why would agents arrest a federal prosecutor and then destroy evidence? Why would they lie? What were they trying to hide? The DHS tried to explain. A spokesman held a press conference. He said, "We're cooperating fully with the investigation. We take these allegations very seriously." But cooperation didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. The story was out everywhere, and everyone was asking for the body cam footage. The footage that Rodriguez said was gone, but wasn't. This story was shared millions of times online. Millions. Share it if you think others should see this too. The federal judge in charge was Judge Morrison, the same judge who was waiting for Dr. Chen that morning. A black man in his 60s. 30 years on the bench. 30 years of seeing cases. 30 years of seeing justice work, and sometimes seeing it fail. He had seen a lot in his career, but he had never seen an agency lose body cam footage this convenient. Never once in 30 years, he called both lawyers into his courtroom. He said, "I want to know one thing. Where is the body cam footage from that morning?" The DHS attorney said, "Your Honor, we are still searching for it." Judge Morrison said, Still searching? It's been 2 weeks. How hard is it to find a digital recording? How hard is it to find digital evidence in a computer system? The attorney said, "There was a technical malfunction. The system failed." Judge Morrison said, "In 30 years on the bench, I have never seen a malfunction this convenient. Not once. I'm ordering you to produce all body cam footage from October 15th. All of it. You have 48 hours. If you don't have it, we will assume you destroyed evidence intentionally. And that changes everything. That makes this a criminal matter." 48 hours later, the DHS attorney came back to court. He looked nervous. Very nervous. He said, "Your Honor, we found backup footage," Judge Morrison said. "And what does it show?" The attorney said, "It contradicts our initial report." Judge Morrison said, "Show me. Now. I want to see it right now." They played the footage in the judge's chambers. The video showed everything. Every moment. Every second. Rodriguez stopping Dr. Chen. Rodriguez seeing her DOJ credentials. Rodriguez reading them carefully. Rodriguez knowing exactly who she was. Then Rodriguez talking to Agent Chen. Rodriguez said, "I don't care who she is. Quotas are quotas." Agent Chen said, "This could blow back on us." Rodriguez said, "Who's gonna believe her?" That's what the backup footage showed clearly. Rodriguez knowingly detaining a federal prosecutor, knowingly ignoring her credentials, knowingly lying about it, knowingly destroying evidence. Judge Morrison watched the entire video. He watched every second. When it ended, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Get me the U.S. Attorney General's office. Right now. This man needs to be charged with federal crimes." 6 months later, Dr. Chen sat for a long interview. She was calm, she was professional, she was still working as a federal prosecutor. She had returned to court. She had continued her cases. The reporter asked, "Why did you fight this so hard? You could have just moved on. You could have dropped it. You could have settled quietly." Dr. Chen said, "Because it's not about me personally. It's about the next person, the next immigrant, the next person of color who gets stopped without cause. If I don't fight, nothing changes. If I don't hold them accountable, they do it again, and again, and again, and again." The reporter asked, "Are you happy with the outcome?" Dr. Chen said, "Happy is the wrong word to use. Justice happened. That's different from happy. Justice is what should always happen. It shouldn't be rare. It shouldn't be surprising. It should be normal. Every single time. Every single case." Sighed. She paused and thought for a moment. She said, "The $27 million don't matter to me personally. What matters is that everyone now knows what happened. Everyone can see the footage. Everyone knows they lied. And everyone knows they can be held accountable." The reporter asked, "What's next for you going forward?" Dr. Chen said, "Back to work. I have cases to argue. I have justice to pursue. Justice doesn't stop because one agency violated someone's rights. It keeps going. We keep going. I keep going forward." This case exposed something much bigger than one agent. It showed how agencies destroy evidence, how they lie to cover up, how they protect their own, how they target innocent people, how they abuse power, and how one person who refuses to stay quiet can change everything, change the system, force accountability everywhere. The backup footage wouldn't have been found without her demand for transparency, without her knowledge of the law, without her refusal to accept lies. So let me ask you this important question. How many cases like this happen without cameras rolling? How many people get detained and then released with no record? How many times does evidence disappear and nobody ever knows the truth? How many innocent people suffer in silence? Because if we don't demand accountability, then we're just waiting for the next agent, the next detention, the next cover-up. Comment below right now and tell me. Do you think this case was handled fairly? Do you think the punishment was enough? Because these stories matter. They matter to the next person this happens to. If you think they matter, hit that subscribe button. We expose cases like this every single week. We're going to keep demanding better. This isn't just about one agent or one victim. It's about all of us. It's about what justice means. It's about whether power can be checked or whether it just keeps winning. So subscribe, comment, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Because change only happens when people pay attention. See you in the next one.